Just getting done with these morning chores before I head in, and story time. Story out of the book. Pretty interesting question today. Question today was actually who, before I mess up the question. All right. Tell me about someone who had a positive influence on you when you were young, like a coach or a teacher. And thought long and hard about a coach or a teacher. And being that I didn't play many sports, I only played baseball. I had very few coaches. My dad was one of my coaches for a little bit. A teacher, I didn't really have a teacher that really had a positive impact on me. So it was kind of tough, but then I narrowed it down. So you get cleaned up for the day, and then I'll get on this book. I'll get on who had the positive influence on my life. Be back. Well, there's a saying that goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And sometimes it doesn't always make sense when you're the child and you hear that. I don't get it. But so for me, when I read the question, which person had a positive influence on your life? Was it a coach or a teacher? And the reason why I say it takes a village to raise a child, because actually it was a village that had a positive influence on my life. It truly was. It was a whole village. So I couldn't narrow it down to just one person. I have to include a lot of people. And if I have to start from the top, it'd be my mom. My mom was my number one influence in my life. She was a single mother, so she was very strong, independent. She never gave up. She kept a house, a vehicle, paid the bills. There was 3 kids. She took care of us. She raised us. She clothed us. So I give it to her for being a single woman back in those days where majority of the women stayed home and the men worked and provided for the homes. My father stepped out of the picture, so my mom took over the bills and the house and the whole 9 yards. So starting with her, she was my number one. She's my number one influence. She started with her. She taught me a lot. She taught me what an independent woman really is, what she looked like, what she did, how she did it. That was my mom. She taught me that. The second person on my list would definitely have to be my brother. See, my brother stepped up when my dad stepped out. So he was the man of the house. He became the man of the house. He took care of the yard. He took care of the vehicles. He took care of the dog. Until I was old enough to help him, but he stepped up. He became the man of the house. He even, at a young age, he went and got a job so he can help my mom out with some of the bills. And I remember there was a story that he even helped her out during Christmas time to help buy us, me and my sister, some Christmas presents. And I gave it to him. So he stepped up, being the man of the house, young, working, and still trying to be a teenager. He was still a teenager, and he still taught me a lot. He taught me what true strength is. He taught me never to give up, never to show fear, never to show weakness. He showed me all that. Even though I don't think he knows that, he did show me. There's some situations he has been in, and I think any other man would have given up already, and not him. He just keeps pushing forward, and he keeps pushing on through. There's times where I have my rough days, and I feel like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. And I think of my brother and think of what he has gone through and what he's going through. And he has not thrown in the towel, and he does not give up. So I got to keep on trucking for him too, because I not only got my family looking up to me, but I look up to him, and he doesn't realize it, but I do. He's got strength that I don't know where he gets it from. So I look up to him for that strength. He gives me strength, whether he knows it or not. So my brother really he was really a positive influence on me growing up. I would see him go through his struggles and still push through, smile, and just do what he had to do, and just keep on living. And that's all we got to do is just keep on living. And I'm glad he taught me that. So that's the second person in my life. Is first my mom and then my brother. The third person is honestly is she's kind of like my second mom. I'd have to say that's my sister. My sister, she was like my second mom. When my mom was working a lot or doing what she had to do, um, my sister took care of me. She fed me, she bathed me, she clothed me, she made sure I took my medicines. She really took care of me. I was born sick, so she was there. She was always there for me. She was the one taking care of me a lot. When my mom couldn't. So my sister also showed me how to protect myself. How to protect myself, not like my brother did, but how to protect my feelings, how to protect my heart. Because yeah, she showed me how to protect myself, like, my feelings, and just because kids would pick on me, they would always pick on me. So she'd like, don't listen to them, don't even pay attention to them, just whatever. And she would stick up for me and whatever. And she just showed me how to be strong and, feelings wise, and not to take everything to heart, not to be so sensitive about stuff. And if I hear things, just let it go. And she would tell me, just don't listen to them, and just brush it off. Don't even take it to heart. It is what it is. So I learned a lot from her too. And actually, she's the one who taught me how to drive. And the first time I learned how to drive, it was actually a stick car, and it wasn't her. She had an old Volkswagen Beetle, and she at the time she was living in this house, and right next to her house was an empty field. So she taught me in that little field. She was trying to teach me in that little field, and I couldn't get it at first because I couldn't get the clutch and gas mechanism right. But after a little bit, I got it. I ended up getting it. So yeah, she taught me how to drive, and that was funny. That was funny. We had a good old time. I almost went off the curb, and she got all scared and what have you. But there's some funny stories with that car. Maybe it'll come up in the book later, but that's pretty much it. That's who had a good influence in my life. And you know what? I can't forget my grandfather, because when my grandfather would come around, he's the one who taught me, what a true proud American looked like. And that's what he was. He was a true proud American. I'm glad I'm named after him. Gilbert, that's me, Anthony Gilbert. And so he was a World War II veteran, just proud, manly guy. Just always stood proud with honor and dignity. And so that's what I learned. I learned that from my grandfather, from my tata, is to be proud, proud American, stand with pride, stand with dignity and honor. And so my grandfather always taught me respect, just to be respectful and respectful to others. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So those were the people who had an influence in my life: my mom, my brother, my sister, my grandfather, my grandmother. I had some aunts and uncles that also were there in my life, a big part of my life. But I don't want to make this a long story. I still got a whole book to do, so I might talk about them later. Who knows? But until then, it's lunchtime, and I had to get some more things done around the house. So I'll see you on the next one. Just in time, the jets are flying over.